We got another one. So this one here is an old pickup that got tapped in the back, and we definitely do a wide variety of stuff here on this channel and at this shop, so it keeps me on my toes, and I like seeing a lot of different things, and I'm sure you guys agree as well. So this is a really nice old pickup truck. This one got tapped in the back. The customer brought it in, and he's gonna be letting us repair it. So I'll show you guys the body man doing their thing, fixing up the areas that needed to be addressed with it, and then it'll get over to my area. We'll do our thing and we'll get it painted, put back together, and show it to you all finished up in this here video. So let's get into it. All right, so this here is the repair area. You guys see it had the damage around the tail light. It did scratch the tailgate and had a little bit of adjustment problems on that now. So here they are with it bagged up. We like to cover the cars up. That way we keep overspray off of them as well as dust when we're doing the repair process. So here's Dan and Dustin now taking this one apart and getting this thing ready to start the repair on it. First is the detrim and get it disassembled. That way they're able to fix the truck and get it right. So there's the tailgate damage. They went ahead and sanded that out after they removed it. And then they had to repair the area here around the tail light. You guys see that Dustin's doing his thing, and they did a really top level job on this one, getting that light to fit in there really nicely. And then once they're done with that, I'll be getting the piece over there to me. They decided to pull it off the truck. That way we do not have to bring the truck in the booth, and we can get a nicer, cleaner job with it. So there's the back of the actual bed now, and I got my man Bryce doing his thing, getting it ready for primer. And then we're gonna go ahead and hit this one with just our 2K urethane primer on this one. It really didn't have any bare metal at all because a lot of that was done years back with a lot of filler. So here's the tailgate as well and the hinges for the job. All right, so we got it primed up, and now we're gonna be scuffing it down. We're gonna hit it with 400 and 600 grit because we gotta stay away from some of the areas that we are gonna be matching up to the bed on this one. So we're gonna go ahead now, unwrap it. We wrap this up, that way we stayed out of this area here and we didn't get all primer on this. So we just primed this strip and this here where it lines up to the bedside on it. So that's a good thing for you guys to see, is don't just prime over and have to sand this again. Mask it up, keep your primer small. That way you have less sanding and you can get it prepped out quicker and actually have a nicer, better job. So we got my man here, he's gonna be sanding this one down. Same thing on this here. We're gonna go ahead and get this sanded down with 400 and 600. You guys see here, I guide coded it because we have to do a lot of sanding around this custom area here where the tail lights go in. So let's go ahead and get it prepped. All right, so while Bryce was doing the prepping on this one, I went ahead and checked the color on this. So the owner of the truck told us this code was PGE, and I guess years back when they did it, they used a solvent and they used a shop line on it. So we put it in the computer, there's no chips, and then I went ahead and shot it with our camera, and it had a really bad reading on it. So we might have to do a lot of tinting on this one, I'm not sure, but we'll get it done right. And this truck will look good when it's done. So what we're gonna do now is get everything in there. We are gonna be shooting this with another job. That way we get the most out of the booth. All right, so we've got it clean now, and we're gonna be moving into the base coat on this one. We're not gonna be sealing this job. We finished it off in a 600 grit. That way we can keep our color minimal to the areas that we need to apply it to. So first thing we're gonna do is mix up the color, spray a card, check our color to the truck, and then we'll get this thing dialed in. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is put in the code so I can show you guys. This is PGE, and this here is the green with envy. So we're gonna hit that one. And these are the variants that they have for that there color. So there is no chips, as you guys can see here. They do have some specials for it. That's where it says greener, coarser, greener, cleaner, greener. And there's a main layer there, which is a 2-stage, and then there's a 3-stage. So what I did was we shot it with the camera, and I'll go to that page now and show you that. So right here, see that? It says the rapid match. We'll hit that. We've already shot the color, and this is the reading for it here. So what this here given me is now a 21 on there, and that is not a good reading for this here color. So it did pick up PGE on a different area of the truck than what we are actually going to be painting it near. So where I shot it close to where we're going to be in that vicinity, it didn't pick the color at all. So it looks like it might be a little bit see-through in certain spots. That's why it's not picking up this color right. So I went over to an area that I know is got full coverage on it, and it did pick up PGE. This is it here, and you guys can see now we can turn it, but it's definitely lighter on the face than what we're going for. So this here is the color, and this is what they got for it that we can actually mix. So we're a little bit light, and that is the 3-stage version of it. So we're gonna see whether we're gonna start out with prime. I might shoot prime on a spray out and see, or I might just go right into this one, but hang tight and I'll see where we decide to start with. All right, so I wanna start off at ground zero, and I'm gonna mix up prime just to see what we got with the prime chip. And then I can actually look at these and go off of it. So that's how I would normally do it. So we'll mix prime up, we'll see what we got for that. And then we can see here where it says yellower flop, greener face, darker flop, or step into the 3-stage variants for it. But I just wanna see where we're at with the prime, and that way I can have a gauge on which way I think we should go with this. All right, so we've got our color mixed up now, and I'm gonna show you guys a little trick. Whenever you're doing a spray out card on one of these type of colors that's very vivid, most of the times these are very see-through. So as you can see here, we have our spray out card with all the shades of the sealer on them. This is gonna come in very handy for you on something like this, because a lot of times when these custom jobs are done, they do not have full coverage on them. So what this will do is, if we put the right amount on the right color ground coat, it's gonna get us in the ballpark on this here color. That way we can see what we need to do to get this color right. So let's put a coat on this, and we'll talk more about that once we get a coat on it. All right, so we put one coat on the card, and here's what I was talking about now. You guys can see that you can see through the card. You can see the dark sealer, the gray, the lighter gray, and then the white at the bottom. So this is what I had a feeling was going on with that truck. Once I shot it with the camera and I seen that it didn't pick up that color, I went to an area of the truck that I knew had more paint on it than the area that I'm actually gonna be painting near. So when I did shoot that part of the truck, it did pick up PGE, but it wasn't a very good match. And that's because what happens a lot of times when guys are doing them custom jobs like that is they'll seal that truck or whatever car they're doing with like a medium gray, and then once that color looks covered, they'll just do one drop coat and they'll clear the job, because they're not matching anything. They're not really going after a color match on a vehicle, being that they're doing the whole truck or the whole car. So for us guys now, we got to do a lot of little tricks that I know through the years that happen in order to match that one up. So if you look at this now with even just the one coat on it, you can see that they went with a medium gray. That middle one there looks the best, and that's only one coat. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put one more coat on the card. That way I can see what needs to be done here to this color. So you guys see here we have a medium gray basically for the primer. But what I might do in order to really make this look the way that it needs to is mix up one of these variant shades in the base coat. That way I can get this nice and even, because you see here we have gray, then we have green, then we have gray. You're gonna wanna get this one even shade in order to make this look the way that it needs to, kind of like what they did back when they did this truck originally. So let's go ahead, put one more on this, and then we'll check our color. All right, so we've got our spray out card now. We've put 2 coats on this. You guys see me blowing it with the hair dryer to get it to dry. And then I put a little bit of clear on top of this, nothing crazy. But now that we have the card up to the car, we're gonna go ahead and check it with the light. And if you guys can see there from the top, you guys can see the different shades of the actual sealer that was on this card. That middle one looks very, very good. So you can see the bottom is too light, the top is too dark, but that middle gray shade looks to me that that's what they must have used when they did this here color. So we're gonna do a little trick that I've done through the years, and that's gonna be putting down a ground coat in the base coat in the same shade that we have here on this card, blend that out, and that way once we put our green over the top, we'll be able to get this color dialed in. So a lot of times you wanna start out with the prime chip, check it, make sure that it's just not a coverage issue, because a lot of times the camera will not pick up something if it doesn't have full coverage on it. So start out with prime and then go from there with it. All right, so we're gonna mix up a G-Shade now in the base coat and get some of that on there, blend it out. And one more thing I wanted to tell you why I think that's the case of what happened here, because when a lot of guys are doing a custom paint job and they have a color that they like, a lot of times they'll go with prime. Very rare do you ever get somebody calling up the paint store asking for a variant on an overall paint job. They'll usually go with the prime chip. So as I looked at the can, it didn't have anything on it as a prime or an alternate, but it did have the regular PGE code in the shop line. So I'm willing to bet they went with the prime on it, and they're just having the gray shade glowing through the bottom. So let's make up a little bit of base and get this thing finished up. All right, now that we've got our base coat mixed up in that gray, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this one even continuous layer. That way we do not have any green and we do not have the gray. We want this to be all gray. That way once we put our two coats on, we know we're gonna have a match to that spray out card. So if we were to just go ahead and put our base over the top of this, this would be different than this, and then this here would keep darkening and getting greener as we go. So we wanna get this one even layer. And this here on the bottom will work out fine, because I'm just gonna go ahead and mist it down low right here on this one strip. And then we're gonna take it up here a little bit. We're gonna stay away from this whole area here and in the back with it, because in the back we're basically just clearing in the back. So this is a one-piece tailgate that really doesn't have anywhere to break it off at. So we're gonna be clearing the whole thing at one time here. So let's go ahead and put on our gray, get this blended out. That way this is one consistent area here. This will be one consistent area here, and then we can move into our green. All right, so that's one coat of base down, and you guys can see that that color looks very good now over that shade of gray that we use. So in the PPG system, they give you the option to mix up the G shades in either the sealer, which is a urethane 2K, or your base coat. So the base coat lays down very flat, and it's very nice because now we're gonna have a good match on that, being that we figured out that was the problem with this here vehicle. So you always gotta check what you're doing, and sometimes you're gonna go into it thinking you're gonna be doing it one way without using a sealer, and then you realize that you have to switch it up in the middle of the job, but that's what has to be done, and that's what's gonna make you a better painter, to figure out what you need to do and when to do it. So we're gonna put one more coat on of the base. We'll check it to our spray out card, make sure that we're in the ballpark of where we need to be, and then we'll get this thing cleared up. All right, so that's the two coats, and now you can see that that spray out card looks just like it needs to. It matches up to the roll pan. And I did take it over one more time and checked it to the truck. That way we know we're gonna be good. So we're gonna let that flash. We're gonna clear the whole job. Then this one's gonna get built back together from the body, man. We'll get it cleaned up and we'll show it to you all finished up. All right, so that's the parts all finished up. We'll go ahead and bake that. It'll sit for a couple of hours and then the body man will start assembling that job. So we'll watch him do that and then we'll show it to you guys all put together. All right, so you guys can see here, we got it all finished up, but we do have dollies on it. And there's never a dull moment in a body shop. So once the body men got it all finished up and they did a phenomenal job on that body line, you guys seen how that was all crunched up when we first got this truck in here. They got it all back together and they went to move the actual truck so they could get it back over the detail area. And all of a sudden it started smoking. They opened the hood and they had a power steering hose blow out on it. So right now, we've got it in here on the dollies. It's gonna be sitting in here over the weekend, but we wanted to show it to you guys all finished up, and I'm real happy with the outcome on it. So let's do a little walk around of the truck. That way I can show you guys the outside of it and some of the inside and what kind of motor it has. So this here is the outside of it, and we did the green, but it does have a purple separating this from like a gunmetal charcoal that's on the top roof and also on the hood. So this is a pretty cool here louver style hood scoop that they have on the hood on both sides of it. And this one is running a Chevrolet motor in it. So those must be like a almost like a 396 scoop, being they got the Chevy motor in it. And it is an EFI, so it's a fuel injected carburetor that they have on this. But it is a nice old truck. It's got updated headlights in it with the halogens in it, and it's running the American Racing torque thrusts. One feature I really liked when I seen this truck was this tonneau cover that somebody customized and made, because it's very flat. It's not wavy like a lot of the fiberglass tops that are on these trucks or some of the other trucks that are out there. But let's check out the inside. And the interior is really nice as well. It's got like a three-tone going on with a gray suede with a nice leather, and then it's got the green with some aluminum accents on it, like on the steering wheel here, and then it's got the nice white face gauges on it. Just a really nice truck, and I was happy to actually be a part of this one and getting this thing fixed back up for the fella. So hope you guys like it, and we'll see you guys on the next one.